Today we've witnessed the first tangible step in Sir Keir Starmer's UK-France migration returns deal, a single Indian national removed from the UK, flown to Paris. Ministers call this an important first step in securing our borders. Critics dismiss it as cosmetic. The question before us is whether this is an achievement or merely a sticking plaster on a much deeper wound. We should remember where we've come from. Under the Conservative government, the flagship Rwanda scheme, pioneered by Priti Patel and Suella Braverman, consumed 2 years of political oxygen, millions of pounds of taxpayers' money, yet the only passengers on flights to Kigali were Conservative ministers posing for photo opportunities. Not one migrant was ever deported to Rwanda. And against that background, it's significant that the Labour government has actually managed to deport someone. Symbolically, that matters. Proof of concept. The UK-France deal is simple in design but complex in execution. For every migrant removed to France after arriving illegally, one asylum seeker with a legitimate claim in France will come to Britain through safe and legal routes. The idea is to disrupt the business model of the smugglers and to deter risky crossings. The first returns have happened. The first arrivals into the UK under the scheme are expected within days. There are 3 achievements worth noting. First, unlike Rwanda, this is reciprocal. Britain is not offloading responsibility to a far-off nation, but working with France as a partner. Second, it provides a legal pathway into the UK, showing that we are not turning our back on refugees, but instead insisting on order and fairness and snubbing the traffickers and the smugglers. Third, it's established in practice that deportations can happen despite legal challenges. For a government under pressure to show grip, that matters. And yet the scale is strikingly modest. One removal set against more than 30,000 arrivals so far this year. Thousands remain in detention centres with legal appeals pending. The High Court has already intervened in several cases, particularly where modern slavery and trafficking are alleged. This raises serious moral questions. Do we risk sweeping aside legitimate claims in the rush to show delivery? The Independent Anti-Slavery Commissioner has warned that rhetoric about vexatious claims can endanger real victims, giving traffickers further power over them. We must also ask what happens once the migrants reach France. They're placed in accommodation centres, encouraged to apply for voluntary return to their home countries, yet enforcement in France is weak. Last year, only 15% of those ordered to leave actually left. In other words, the UK may be sending people into a system which is no more capable of processing them efficiently than we are. And frankly, once people leave France, they go to other places in Europe and hang around in Greece or Italy or Spain. Public opinion is febrile. Immigration now tops voter concerns, according to polls. Nigel Farage and UK are already mocking Labour, one solitary return against 10,000 new arrivals. Well, they should have also been mocking Suella Braverman and Priti Patel. Maybe they did. And meanwhile, Donald Trump has weighed in, urging Starmer to use the military. It shows how immigration has become not just an administrative issue, but a theatre of political muscle. When measured against Rwanda, the French deal looks pragmatic, realistic and more humane. It involves reciprocity, legal routes, genuine flights. Yet when measured against the scale of the problem, it risks looking tokenistic. The Conservatives promised a deterrent that never happened. Labour has delivered a proof of concept, but the concept is small. So, is this an achievement? Yes, in that it demonstrates Labour has moved beyond fantasy politics and can actually implement returns. But is it the answer? Not yet. It is at best the first stitch in a vast and fraying fabric. Unless the scheme scales up rapidly and is accompanied by serious investment in safe legal routes, international cooperation and faster asylum processing, the one-in, one-out deal will be remembered not as a cure, but as a plaster on a chronic condition. The real test is not whether one man boards a plane to Paris, but whether Britain can build a system that is fair, enforceable and humane, one that balances deterrence with compassion, order and justice.